So, hello and welcome to this live stream. So in this stream, I thought I would actually start with a blank canvas, and I thought I was going to try to start a Northern Lights painting. So let's see how that goes. It might be a bit too shiny eventually, and then we'll have to go over to something else. I have a few different paintings here ready for today, but I think I'm going to start with this one. And we're going to see if this actually works. Sometimes it does get a bit too shiny, but I'm going to try it. I'm just going to start with a blank canvas. I thought that might be fun. So here I want to do a method that I discovered. Well, it's a very standard method of painting Northern Lights, but I haven't been using it. But I'm going to see if that works with this. So it's probably the way you would start to paint Northern Lights if you've never done it before. But as I said, I only just kind of discovered that I could do it. So I'm going to try to show how that goes here and see if I can't get a decent painting out of it. So I'm going to combine the seems to be a bit frayed. There we are. So I'm going to try to combine. Hi, Path of True Nature. Well, welcome to the stream. Well, welcome to everyone who's joining. So I'm going to try to combine two different ways of painting the Northern Lights. So I'm going to start with the very, very easiest one, with just putting the colors down and then just going over with this broad brush and just going upwards, and that will create the kind of the backdrop for the Northern Lights. And then we'll see if I can't do the more specific parts afterwards. But as I said, this is a bit of just a try. I haven't really done this off live stream, so doing it in a live stream is a bit of a risk. So we're going to start with just getting the colors down. So the colors that we're going to need for the Northern Lights. So black just all the way at the top, and then blue, and then we're going to do some purple, because that's often at the top of the Northern Lights, and then very green, blue, and then green afterwards. So let's see if that actually works. Here, often there is purple at the very top of the Northern Lights. It does have to be a bit strong, so if you've seen it at the more southern altitudes, you probably haven't seen that, but purple is absolutely a color that's quite usual at the very top of the Northern Lights. So try it with a wide angle here. It's not as detailed as the other one, but here you can see a little bit more. So you can see the paints, and you can see more of the things that I'm doing, and you can see the entire painting. So it's just an attempt, and I'm not sure how well that translates to your picture. So let me know if it's not good enough and I can zoom in. But for now, especially when we're this far away, I'm not painting details, I think this works fine. So let's get these colors down. As I said, this is probably going to be, if you've never painted Northern Lights before, this is probably the easiest way to do it, at least in the beginning, and then we'll see if we can't get a bit more complicated afterwards. There, and then we have the next color. So then we have the blue. And I'm going to have quite a lot of attempts at this, I think. See first if it works, and then probably it's not going to work completely, and then we're going to have to go over it again, and it's just going to be like that. Because as I said, this is a bit of an experiment. We'll see how it works out. What I'm hoping for is that this can be the backdrop. Often if you see the Northern Lights, there are these particular movements, but there's also just the general kind of green light on the horizon. Oh, let's see, this is quite... So we're gonna go over it quite a lot. I'm gonna paint the bottom as well now, just so it's not as white. It always bothers me a bit to leave things. But I don't want this to dry too much before we start to drag it all upwards. And it's going to be interesting to see how far we get. It doesn't seem to be a bad shine on this painting, so we can see. Maybe we can get... We're not going to finish this painting in 2 hours, but we can actually get a lot further than you might think. So it'll be exciting to see how far we get with this. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me. If anyone is at the keyboard, do let me know if you can hear me. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here talking to myself. But I am going to assume that you guys can hear me. Very good. Okay. So you can hear me. That's good. Let's see here. We hear you. Very good. If we can... Okay, thank you. Okay. So there we have a bloody mess of colors, which is the way we want it at the moment. And then all of this we are going to go in and do properly. Probably want a green tinge here too, and so on. Anyway, let's see if we can't start this up. So basically we're just going to do it like this. That already doesn't look the way I want it, but I'm just going to go over it once and see what the problem is. So one of the problem is that there is not enough purple, for instance. And then there are quite a bit of other colors I would like in it, and I took the black one with me. So that's not supposed to be this. So I have to go from the green one upwards, not from the black one. I'll just go over it like this again, and then I'm going to add some more colors. So this is a bit of a work in progress. Eventually, when I've done this a lot of times, I can just do it in one. But for now, we're just going to go over it again and again until it looks the way I want it. And every time, we're going to have more of the color, the proper place, and so on. So I can really advise that for anyone who's painting is just, try, fail, and then learn a little bit, and then go again, and eventually you'll have it. So maybe during this evening, I will have learned how to do this properly. So the colors already look nicer, and we're going to go over it again. Okay, so I can already see that the wrong color is here. So we need a different blue, we need more purple, and then we need much clearer green. So let's get ultramarine blue, that's the more purplish blue. Add that on top of here. Quite a bit. Often I don't like to have too much because it never dries, but if you paint the northern lights in this way, it's actually good that it doesn't dry. I'm gonna have to hold this and get my fingers messy. No, that's fine. All right, we have the blue color, that's gonna then get dragged up. Then we want a lot more purple. A lot of this I can obscure later, so it's actually better for the colors just to be a bit too extreme in the beginning, rather than the other way around. Okay, I think that's going to be a nice kind of end. And then, well, we can do this a little bit. Let's see. So now is the question, what kind of color? A little bit of blue here, but I did want the other kind of blue. Let's see, I put them all next to me here. It's a very different color palette to paint the Northern Lights than you would usually use. these are not colors that often appear together in a painting or in nature, but with the northern lights, that's what they do, which is kind of fun. It's almost like painting with neon colors when you paint the northern lights. In fact, that is you can also paint with blacklight colors, and those will actually have the proper colors for the northern lights. Something I did quite a lot of years ago is just to have a black light, and then you can paint with luminescent colors, and the black light will light them up, and so you'll get the proper neon colors. Put myself a bit further up. I did kind of want to be able to be seen here. Here from Colors Live. Very good. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I extras did postpone this live so that I, myself, and other people could join Colors Live. Okay, let's see here. Okay, the green ones I want a bit unevenly, so that we already have a bit of the northern lights, just kind of the movement already in there. These are things that I can do a lot more of once I really figure out how this works. Just joined, but love the colors already. Thank you, Lynn. Okay, let's try this again. This probably won't be the last time. Oh, and I'm getting a bit of the black in, which is not good. But it might not be such a bad idea. Okay. So that's a bit better. Let's see. So I'm going to obscure it again, though. The colors are at the right place, and they are stronger than they were. But I'm going to obscure it again, and then put the colors down a little bit differently. But it's getting there. It is getting there, and I want different colors down here. So if you have the band of blue here, I still want the sky to go a bit further down. This is one of the nice things with painting something that you don't exactly know what you're going to paint. Welcome to the stream, Cute Animal Stones. Nice to have you here. And I know I shouldn't call you Cute Animal Stones, but that's what it says here. You did tell me your name, and I have it on the tip of my tongue, but I can't for the life of me. And I'm not going to try. I have a few names that I think are one that I think is the right one. Let's see here. Michael. Very good. I will remember that. You are much too trusted and faithful live stream participant that I should remember your name. Okay. So. Now if I could get this a bit further up, you could actually see me while I do this. But that seems... Is there any way of doing that? Maybe it's not necessary. If you absolutely want to see me, you can let me know, and I'll try to make that work. All right. Let's see. Now we can... I'm going to do the landscape a little bit further down so that we have the proper colors. I would like a little bit of the colors of the northern lights into what's probably going to be snow here. There's usually snow when there's the northern lights, unless it's late autumn. So we have the reflection of the northern lights in the snow here already. Thank you, Murray. So I suppose I don't need to stress through this. I really just want to get to the point where there's actual northern lights coming here, and we can start painting details and stars and so on. But these things take a while, and we've been painting now for about 20 minutes. And to get the start right is really important, because everything else is dependent upon that. So to get those colors in the background and everything proper, that really is important. Okay, if we have the color here, and then we can kind of imagine there's a tree line or something here, and that's where the actual northern lights start. Though now when we actually have quite a lot of the movement and the colors and so on here, we can actually start to do a little bit more of actual northern lights movement and so on. And then do the little trick where we just drag everything up. It always feels a bit like cheating, but it's it's a good start for the background, I found. Although I haven't really done that with northern lights so far, only on one of the books. So put it down, and I have a clearer green too. Okay, a few things I wanted to do. So we'll get that purple again. I want that a little bit more unevenly too. I'll place it just here first, so that comes up too. And then we can have a little bit lighter turquoise. That's going to be dragged upwards as well. And then we'll just do some stripes, basically. So a lot of the specific northern lights we can go in afterwards and do. This is all just going to be background. I might be making a mess of it, but it might turn out to be nice too. Let's see. Like that. Maybe dry the black part with a hairdryer so it doesn't drag into the northern lights. Well, I could do that. The thing is that it all really does have to be wet for this technique to work. So afterwards you can do that, but if it's only semi-dry, that destroys the entire process. At least that's what I found so far. So the thing I need to do is not to touch it. But now the black is actually gone here, so there's no risk for that to happen now. Okay, and we have this a bit more extreme green color. Put that down here. Okay, and let's see if this works. Oh, that's a bit of a mess. I mean, there are some nice colors there, but it is a bit of a mess. Let's get rid of that. And I can see the black here again. Fingers crossed. Well, it is eventually going to turn out the way I want it. I might not actually do this process, for I might go in and do it a little bit more specific. Let's see. Okay, but we do have the background kind of the way we want it. Damn, should have used it. Oh, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. The thing is just to not give up on this. The process, it is going to work. But bright green color, is that a black light paint? Oh, no, it isn't. You could do it with a black light. And then it's going to be even more proper for the northern lights. But no, I'm not using black light paint for this. I think that's an acrylic paint too. I haven't found any for oil paint. And it's a bit more extreme, so it's not something I would do for a painting that I would sell, not at least until I've done it a lot and figured out if it's all right. Okay, but I think the color scheme is fine, and I'm just gonna do this. We'll just do this until it really works. But I'm gonna go in now and be a bit more careful. So it's quite close, this northern light. We're quite close, so we're not going to have it too... Well, that doesn't make any sense what I'm saying. It's just, you have this movement in the northern lights, and I'm trying to replicate it here, but I'm trying to figure out how it should be. So you can have it like this, and then you can kind of snag, and it can go something like that. And then they always follow each other, the lines. It's electromagnetism, And so the lines will always have something to do with one another. They don't cross over or something like that. If that makes any sense at all. So let's see if we have it like that. Let us try this again. Quite a bit more careful this time, and I think I have black on my brush, which is not good. Let's clean the brush, and then we're just going to go there and do this again and see if it works. Probably not the best idea to do something really new on a live stream, but I thought it might be fun to take you guys along. And it's fun to show you guys how I do something that I haven't done much before. I often do these live streams with things that I've done 1,000 times just to be shown. But I paint very differently when I'm not sure what I'm doing. It's much more of intuitive, kind of creative, trying out process. It's getting there. It creates suspense, absolutely. That is very true. Okay, that is absolutely better. So now we have the colors kind of in the right place. So much with this brush movement, and try to not to... And try to get them straight. Like so. And then we can get rid of this again. So now we have kind of a background for the lights, and we have the light, and I think that's actually much better. And that can then dry, and we can go in. I'm not going to be able to do that in this session, but we can then go in and create the details for the lights and so on. I have one here that I've done. I can just put it in front. And here you can see what I'm kind of going for and how it's going to turn out eventually. But I haven't done this technique in the background, so it's not as lit up as this one will be, I think. But there I think we have the kind of the Northern Lights feel of it all. And let's see if we can't go in. Works pretty good, I think. Thank you. And now, of course, the question is if we can go in and make some trees and do things already, or if this is probably what we can do at this stage. Oh my god. Oh, the piece looks trippy. I suppose. The thing is, you can't really see it very well on this because of the shine. It shines way too much. Something like this. I actually think so too, Magdalena. Thank you. Because you have the background here. And it's going to shine much more than the one I had. This is why I wanted to try out this method of doing it. What we can do, we can try to do something, and hopefully that won't ruin it. Is to go in again and do different colors. I have the kind of scheme now. And let's hope that this doesn't ruin it. But I'm going to go in. Oh, I love the Northern Lights. We'd love to see them in the real one day. Yeah, they are just amazing. I love the Northern Lights. It's just the best natural phenomenon. That is so pretty. I always struggle when I want to paint and draw the Northern Lights, clouds, water, mist. I'm too precise and ruin it. I know that feeling. I have a problem with being too detail-oriented too, and then sometimes it's difficult to get the more abstract feeling that's needed behind it, and then actually afterwards you can go in and do the details. Okay, so I'm going to try to start to do things that might ruin it, but hopefully it won't. So we're going to do some different layers here. I want it to be blue first, and we're going to go and do the entire blue one, then do that. Are we going to do that though? No, we're going to go in and we're going to do the green because it's already quite blue. And we're going to do the details, and we're going to try not to ruin the entire thing. No, you won't. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, let's get the dog hairs out. It's impossible to do anything without having some of the hairs from the dog. Okay, so just to add the proper colors so that it shines a bit more. Might not even need the big brush for this. But it could be good to do that just to get everything in unison. I don't have to be too careful then now either if I use that afterwards. When I paint, the biggest ruin factor for me is that right at the end my stars look too sloppy and big, and it just yeah, I know. Well, next time we paint we can get to maybe we can get to some stars here too. I know that feeling. It can happen quite quickly, but there are some techniques that might help. Let's see. So the nice thing now is that we have the background already, and everything we just paint on top of it now is just going to make it shine a bit more. There. Well, this is actually a very pleasing way of painting the Northern Lights. I'm going to do this much more than... It's really about combining these different methods. I know it's possible to paint the entire sky with Northern Lights just with this method, but I like going in like I do now and having more control of it. But mixing these things, so there's a lot to learn from just... this obviously isn't terribly abstract, but even from very abstract painting, you can do that first and then go in and do the detail work. So a lot of these different techniques can really be put together. Last week I ruined a 5-hour galaxy painting because some of the stars look more like little lines and there's just no fix. Yeah, I know that problem. When you have the stars and the painting isn't completely 8 months kind of dry, so you can't go in and remove them. If they're wrong, it's just, yeah, it's really impossible to really go in and fix it. There are some things that just can't be fixed. Most things can, but there are some things. There. Yeah, I think I am going to go in with the big one again. Hopefully it won't just destroy everything that I've done here. I just saw Lena's new YouTube video and I love the new place where you live and your art studio. Wishing you good luck with getting your dryers. Thank you. Yeah, I really love that video. And I love this the place we live now. And it's really nice. So I have my own place here where I can have the live stream, for instance. And Lena doesn't have to be quiet. It's really a joy to have it like this. And yeah, my driver's license, that is going to take a while. Especially now when there's snow and ice and I really can't drive anymore. Okay, let's see. Let's be very gentle. Very gentle. Let's not get any of the black into it. Let's not ruin the entire painting. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There. Yeah, there we are. I even wrote a poem because it inspired... Oh, that is lovely. That is a great compliment to a video. Okay, I think anything I'm going to do now until this dries more is just going to ruin it. So I can probably go in and do landscape, or we could go and continue on another painting. But since we all started here, I doubt that I can do any stars because it's not dry enough and the stars will just disappear. And they'll create kind of small little blotches if I do them at this stage, I think. I really want to keep having one painting the entire time while we do these live streams. But it's usually not possible to do. So I think this is going to be the start of this painting. And then I have some different ones that we can do together. Too bad I missed the beginning. I wanted to paint along with you. Oh, I am sorry. Norwegian Bob Ross. Does that exist? Norwegian Bob Ross. Okay. Well, you can still paint along with me. I thought we are going to take this away. And then we're going to continue with a different painting. And here we can actually do some stars and things right away. So this is not going to be the Northern Lights. I have 2 of those paintings already. But here we can do the mountains and background, and then we can do stars in. And stars is fun to do. Although I might have to hold my breath from time to time. Maybe we'll do Milky Way or something. Let's see here. So what I wanted to do, well, I still don't have a plan for this, but I'm just trying to look at it now. And I mean, some mountains, so this is obviously nighttime. Yay, thank you. Very good. We'll start with just one mountain, and then we'll go in and do some stars, and then we'll kind of see how it goes from there. So with a mountain, I'm just going to grab some paint, and then we're just going to see basically what happens. So, well, let's just go in. It's easier to do these things once I've started, and I can just go off of what's there. So, well, these are awfully green. Well, it probably shouldn't be this. Well, this is the problem. What color should these mountains be? They should not be this green. They should be kind of a light blue, I think, instead. And then we can do different shadows and so on. They should definitely not be this green. Let's see here. There we are. And then we'll have to decide later how dark they should be. They shouldn't be this light either. Well, let's get maybe some purple. Purple is fine. Green, though, is not. There are no northern lights here. There would be no reason for the snow to be green. I think so. Maybe some really rounded mountains. Maybe they're not as far away as I often make these mountains. We can even plant some trees or something on top of them. Do something a bit new, maybe. If we have a little lonely mountain here, I just want to kind of establish the horizon. And maybe we'll have a forest here, something like that. It doesn't have to be decided too much. I just want to establish a few things so that I know what to go off of. Oh, welcome. You're finally here too. Very good. I'm glad. It seems that these Sunday evening live streams really are a good time. Well, I am all right, and I hope everyone else is too. And this probably doesn't have to be this tilted. I can move this here again. You make it look so easy. Well, thank you. I have done this a million times. Hopefully it will all turn out well. It is all a bit more difficult than a live stream because I want it to turn out well right away. But here we have a mountain. And then let's go in and so if you want the Milky Way, of course we want the black part of the Milky Way. I like to paint that in quite early. And it's usually this direction. And I'm not looking at anything, which means that I just have to kind of imagine something. And the Milky Way is kind of something like this, and then it has... So as far as I've understood it, the Milky Way kind of has a lot of... basically, we're looking at its center here, but there are clouds of dust and so on that obscure the center. And that's formed a bit like this, some kind of like a little bit of a disk. And that creates this obscuration. So there are stars that we can see on top of this again, but the stars that are really, really far away, they are obscured by kind of a dust cloud. If there are any astronomers out there, of course you are free to correct me. That's how I understand it, and that's how I paint it. Since I'm not looking at anything, I have to try to understand the things and then paint them. So they'll look quite different than the proper thing, but hopefully it'll be a little bit correct. So something like that. And then we'll start with the stars. Welcome to the stream, Nat and Krasi. So glad that you are here. We finished a Northern Lights painting. Well, we finished the very beginning. And now we just started this painting. Let's see here. Okay, so we're just going to do the background of the stars first. I'm going to do them a little bit yellow, and we can have some blue ones, and we can have different colors. Would you say that getting better at painting requires mostly practice, or is it important to know the right technique? So I would say practice over everything else. You don't even need to know any techniques. They're helpful, and I've looked at and learned quite a few over the years. But you will develop your own. Hello back at you. You will develop your own. So if you paint long enough, all of the different things that you learn through techniques, eventually you'll just have your own way of painting. So I would say that the absolutely most important thing is just practice. Of course, learning techniques can save you a lot of pain. So there are a lot of mistakes you don't have to do if you learn it. But I mean, through the mistakes, you develop your own way of doing things. So it's just a mixture of the two. If you learn techniques from others, it's kind of a missed opportunity to develop your own. But it's also an opportunity to not make the same mistake that everyone else has been through. So with stars, I like to paint the backdrop of the star first. And then I put a tiny little point in the middle of it afterwards. It's my son's birthday today. It was a busy day. Now I'm in bed. I'm perfect way to relax to be here. Wonderful, Krasi. So glad you're here. And I did it late, as you suggested. And it seems to be working for most people here. So yeah, I'm just going to put down points. And then we're going to go... So I do stars in quite a few different stages, basically. So we put down points here. These are not going to be all of the stars. They're going to be a lot more. But we put down the points. It all depends on the stages of how dry the painting is. This is completely dry now. I don't want these points to dry out before I get back to them. So I'm just going to put a few down, clean my brush, and then I'm going to go in over every point and do a little halo around the middle. And then I already have a point, and on quite a few of them I'm going to go back in afterwards and do it even stronger to have the actual star in the middle. So all of these points are obviously much too big. But that's why I'm going in with a really not very wet, just kind of lightly wetted brush. And I kind of smear out the paint in a little circle around the middle. What temperature is it there? Here in Chile, it's 34 Celsius today. Jesus. Well, here it's about 2 minus, I think. So it started to snow. We had a lot colder. We've had it down to 14 minus. It gets much colder than that, but that's the coldest we've had it so far. But now it's warmer, and yeah, it started to snow. Your star placement is really good. Well, thank you, but that's just a very, very small beginning here. Thank you so much for your reply. I always want to start painting more often, but I get overwhelmed with fear of failure. I'm very strict with myself. Oh, well, a solution to that is really just to start. And then, as you saw if you saw the first painting, just to start with colors and just kind of free yourself. What I really like is not to look at anything, because then you don't have a reference point to judge yourself. And then you just get better yourself and measure yourself against yourself. Actually, it's not really working for me this late. 9 p.m. is our bedtime. This way we can get up really early and go outside and not see people. All right, I get that. But I'll catch you next time. All right, Nat. I am going to do them a bit earlier. This was mainly because Kalle had a live stream and I didn't want to get in the middle of that one, so I waited. So we're usually going to have them a little bit earlier, at least to start. So around 7, and that should be better. I'm in Germany now. It's 5 degrees. I miss the snow so much. Yeah, I get that. Now we're lucky. We're on a plateau here, and even if it's raining in most parts of Norway at the moment, the warmth doesn't get here. So usually, as far as I've been told from the locals, once it starts snowing here, it stays. I am sorry, Joachim. Thank you for rescheduling. That is not at all a problem. I was so happy to catch your stream, Christine. And the later this is, the more people are able to join. So no, that was not a problem at all. It's just really nice because it's just such the community is very much the same. So it's nice that people can catch both. It's a lovely stream, Christine. I was glad to catch it. If I only caught the last half an hour or so. Hi, Anna-Marit. Welcome to the stream. It snows here in Finland too. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I think actually in Sweden I saw Kalle and Christine have quite a lot more snow than we. I think it kind of went there first. So as I said, this plateau that we live on now, it's a really, really dry plateau. It's in the smack middle of Sweden and Norway. So a lot of the weather basically doesn't get here. So cozy, he said. Yeah, I really like those streams. It's one of the reasons I make these streams too. It creates this really cozy feeling, and I really enjoy that. Welcome, Kalle, to the stream. Yeah, I was just talking to Christine. Hey. So yeah, I really, really enjoy that stream. I think the live streams are just so enjoyable, and I mean that's obviously because of this community here and you guys. It's always such a nice time to have these streams, and you can really feel that through. And you can feel that in Kalle and Christine's stream. That was just. Anna might ask, what have you done today? Only painted. No, I've done a few different things today. I've been done with the Christmas launch. And yesterday I finished the last candle glasses that we put up in the shop. There are actually some new candle glasses in the shop now because I just finished the absolute rest of what I have here. So that the Christmas launch is everything is done and ready there. The stream was amazing. I can't believe that somebody asked to come to their cabin. Yeah, I get that. I mean, we've had questions like that too here. And I think Kalle and Christine, that was exactly the right answer. It's just there are too many people. You can't do it. You have to keep a private space. If you start letting people come to your place of living, it's not going to end well. So you made the right choice there. Hvordan har du det lenge siden jeg pratet? Yeah, that's true. I'm good, thank you, Anna-Marit. And I just got a new order from one of the new candle glasses in our shop. I'm not sure if that's any one of you. How do you preserve your paintings? So I use a varnish that you paint on top of it afterwards. You have to let the painting dry. and then you can varnish it with, it's kind of an acrylic layer on top of it. We don't want to be tourist attractions. Yes, exactly. God, I can just imagine kind of a tour bus stopping. And here is Kalle and Christine's place. They have been living here out in the wild for many years. They don't have running water. You can take a picture. Look, there Kalle comes out in his slippers. No, I think we try to not geolocate our position either too much in our posts. We just kind of generalize it. Yeah, no, that is not a good way of doing it. Okay, so we have just the beginning of all of the stars here. There are going to be lots more stars, but I think maybe we should do a tree or two. Yeah, we try not to become tourist attractions. We've already had people that said they recognized us in shops and so on, but we have no idea. So we probably do get recognized at various places without realizing it. Funny to see Colin and Christine here as well. I'm late for your live stream. Oh no, you're just in time. We're still going to keep going for a while. Yeah, it's really nice, this community, and people are just so friendly, as Christine said in their live stream. I'm not sure either if this kind of lifestyle makes you a friendly person, or if friendly people choose this lifestyle, but something's there. So we have... Okay, so this is obviously going to be... there are going to be a lot more stars, so that we actually can get... Well, I can do a little bit of that now. So the Milky Way obviously has a little bit of a shine to it. And we can do a little bit of that here too, so we just start to get the idea of the billions of stars that are in the Milky Way. No, but there are just really friendly, nice people in this way of living, and this community that's kind of establishing itself. Good night, Nat. Nice to have you here. But yeah, let's avoid being tourist attractions. The nice thing, of course, is that we all live so far away from everyone that it's really difficult to sneak up on us without us noticing. If you just drove past us really slowly and in a curious way, it would be very obvious. It's really nice to be here. I never went to art school, but if I did, I wish you were my teacher. Oh, that's really nice. I never went to art school either. And hopefully someday, actually, I am teaching a few people now, in a way, with our course, and it's really nice to be able to kind of give a little bit back. What do you think? Is there life somewhere out there in the Milky Way? Oh, I definitely think there is. I very much doubt that we are alone. So somewhere here, there will be a star that has a planet where they are looking back at us, I am sure. Which I think is nice. Some people might think is creepy, but I think that's a really lovely thought. What language do you and Lena speak most at home? So we speak German. I am half German, and I grew up at least listening to German. And I was actually born in Austria. So, so we speak German here. What got you to start to paint? Vad fick dig att starta att mala? And Marit asks. So I made little sculptures, little miniature worlds in paper clay. And I wanted to paint them with colors. And then I realized I didn't know how to do it. So I had to start to learn painting. And once I started painting, I just realized that it's just so many more opportunities to create enormous worlds than there ever was with modeling. So I kind of stuck to it. That Milky Way almost looks three-dimensional. Well, that is good. That is a goal. It'll look much better once we get many more stars. We're going to put some more stars in now. And then we're going to do some trees and we can get back to it. Let's see here. Okay, I always have to hold my breath a little bit when I do this. we can make the stars a lot bigger too, but I want this depth. And eventually we're going to go with a really, really tiny brush and just paint thousands of little dots. But I want the main Milky Way to kind of be there then. So I really like, of course, a lot of people spray the stars on, and that works very well. It looks much more real than you might think, but I really enjoy having the control and doing every single star. But don't feel obliged to do that. It's not strictly necessary. I find it hard to believe that we are alone in the universe and there's so many other planets and stars out there that are so much older than us. Absolutely. No, I can't imagine that. There are billions and billions and billions of stars, and so many star systems and galaxies and so on. I am sure that there's much more out there. Do you always paint in silence? Just wondering. No, I don't always paint in silence. I often listen to things. I've painted a lot more in silence lately, though. But I often do listen to podcasts or audiobooks or music. Okay, let's get some trees down, just to start this landscape. Let's get some black shadows down here. I'm not entirely, I'm just doing the lines and figuring out what size everything is and what we're gonna do as we go along here. I just know I want some trees. What they're doing there, we can figure out later. There, and the forest can kind of start here. And they might be completely heavy with snow, they might not. I'm not sure about that. Let's see. I just like to get a few things down. I'll do one over here. It's difficult to do and letting you people, you all see it, you people, sorry about that. All these wonderful people that are here with me. All of you guys to see this, but oh, it shines. Oh, well, we're not going to concentrate on this side. We're just going to get this down. And we're going to kind of stick to everything over here. So I'm going to go in with this tiny little brush. Let's just do lots and lots of little branches just to get some structure in here. These I do quite randomly. That's the nice thing. When you've done something 1,000 times, you don't need to think much when you do it. So as you saw with the Northern Lights, the first painting that we did, that was a lot more work. But this, I know how to do and I've done so many times before. The Milky Way is still a bit new, so we're going to have to go over that again and again and again. Because there I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. I don't know where it's going. Not entirely. There we are. And we can get some shadows and so on down as well. I love your work. I have 2 of your candle motifs. Oh, that's lovely, Katie. I always love to hear about people who have some of the things I've done. I've calculated it, and I think over the last 3, have you actually had the shop 3 years now? 2 years, I think. 2 years the shop has been online. I think I've painted well over 1,000 different items. So there must be so many homes that has something that I've made, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I just had some candle glasses, as I said before, that we just put into the shop. And they were some of the candle glasses that I've had with me for months, and some of them actually for almost a year, and I never figured out how to finish them. Sometimes I go off and I do a little bit too bold an idea, and I kind of stop midway and I just have no idea, and I just put it off and I keep just painting a layer and then putting it off. And now I only had those left. So the candle glasses that are in the shop now are quite different than my usual ones, because I just, well, they were a challenge to finish. So I think they turned out really unique and very different. But yeah, that's just really, really two different things: to paint something you've done a lot of times, and then to do something new, two completely different feelings. It's also the reason why in the beginning, when you start painting, you're just learning so fast, because everything you do is new, and it's just, I mean, the harder something is to do, the more you're learning. And I think for anyone who's struggling with painting, for instance, if it's really, really hard and really, really difficult, that means you're learning, and you're learning a lot. So I know if things are too easy when I paint, I'm not challenging myself enough. I saw Lena mention in a video that you don't paint humans, animals. Is it because you find it easier to paint nature? I can't paint humans either, so I'll stick to... Well, I suppose now that I don't paint humans, of course it would be very difficult to do, but I hope that is not the reason. So my stated reason, apart from the fact that I don't know how to do it, is because I want the focus to be on nature. If I put in a human or a stag or an animal in here, most of you, and I myself, wouldn't look at nature. I would look at the animal, and I would like to show off nature just for its own sake, just that it's enough on its own. And I find that humans and animals, they steal the show, and they kind of take the focus away. My focus is on the trees, it's on the nature, and so I decided very early on not to paint anything else than nature. And it gets this timelessness too, trees and mountains, and so they just work on a different time scale than animals do. And so that's the reason, at least my stated reason. So now it says for some reason these live stream in Instagram no longer do more than 1 hour. So in about 1 minute, I am going to lose my connection here, but I will be right back. So when I disappear, I will just start a new live stream, and I hope to see you guys there. So it's 1 minute and 30 seconds. It's counting down, which always stresses me now, and I hate countdowns. Oh, that's nice, Peter. Yeah, I really like just doing that. So I will end the stream here, and I will be back in a few seconds. And I hope that most of you, if not all, manage to come with me for the next next hour. All right. So for anyone, hopefully you got that. I will be right back in a live stream. And there we are again. I am really glad that you seem to be able to join me again. And there we are. So, okay, I'm glad that this worked. Yeah, it's just for some reason I get thrown out after 1 hour. Let's see, we might want to, if we zoom in here, it's much more detailed, but of course we can't see the entire painting. So let me know if you want to see it more detailed. I can zoom in. Let me know about that. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep it like this for now, so we can see the entire painting. But the stars and so on are not going to be very detailed if I have it on a wide lens, as I do now. So I can zoom in and show you guys more details. This 1 hour limit might be a good reason to try YouTube again. It might, but all of my followers are here on Instagram. So I think it's probably better to stay here. But maybe I'll try YouTube at some point. I kind of doubt that most people would come over to YouTube because it's just such an act. But we'll see, maybe at some point. Looks good, thank you, Fraulein. All right, let's see here. We can get some shadows into this mountain. You seem to have lost some people. Hopefully everyone else can join too. Can you do both for a time, maybe? That's true, maybe. We could start here. I have to consider that, but I think I kind of like it here on Instagram. It's what I know. So we'll see. Maybe we'll move it over to YouTube. Of course, it's better to have the screen the other way, actually. So that's true. But this kind of is a good place to be for now. Do you ever use watercolors or other paints than oil colors? No, I don't. Well, I use other paints for porcelain painting and so on, of course. But no, I always use oil paint. It's what I started with, and I will try other things at some point, but there's still so much to explore that I haven't found the reason or the time yet to try out something else. Maler du bare med oljemaling eller med spray? Exactly. Yeah, so I only paint with that. Which team do you support in the World Cup? So I don't support any team in the World Cup. I don't follow the World Cup. That's a very short and simple answer there. I did watch it a long time ago when I was a child, but I'd never been terribly interested. I did used to follow ski sports in the winter, but I don't do that either anymore. Let's see, here I have to be a bit careful. We have the trees in front, so I can do this one later. I just wanted to kind of have the background. Thank you, Animated. So the sky isn't done at all. It's just begun, really. I want a lot more stars, and we want the Milky Way stars. This is just the backdrop of the Milky Way. Now that you mention it, we can go back and start to do the stars again. But I did want to kind of figure out a bit what's going on here. Let's put some snow on the trees. See how that works. But I need a little bit more of the background probably before we can start that. So just something like this. It's all a bit of a mess at this point. But that's all right. Everything can kind of get harmonized as we go along. And then we can have some trees. It's always difficult to know what kind of to focus on. If we get the landscape a little bit more here, we can get some trees in further as well. So the question is kind of what kind of a landscape this is going to be. Is it just going to be a really deep forest? And we can see how far away is everything going to be, for instance. Are we going to have... I think this mountain can be much, much further away than I thought at first. How long does a finished oil painting take to dry? That very much depends on the temperature. The temperature where you have it is the deciding factor to how quickly an oil painting dries. So it can take, well, for it to completely dry, it will take more than a couple of days. But for it to just dry, kind of superficially, that can take only a couple of days if it's really, really warm. If it's really, really cold, it can take months almost for it to really dry. So it's difficult to kind of give a general feel of how long it takes to dry, because it has so much to do with humidity and temperature mainly. But I think about a week you can kind of say. What did you paint today? So I painted a bit on the Northern Lights one. I can show you this one too. I started the trees and so on this painting. And that's mainly what I did. I haven't painted that much today because I basically everything, all my glasses, all my candle glasses and so on are done and are in the shop, and I don't have any anymore. We have to buy more tomorrow, and then I can start with everything else. I have to leave, unfortunately. It was lovely watching you paint. I wish you all a pleasant evening. Thank you, Leah, and I hope to see you in the next one. This is starting to shine a bit, so we'll have to get it out a bit like this. Okay, I think one thing I really wanted to do now is to start to get this landscape a bit more. So if we can get some trees down, and I'm gonna put snow on, maybe, I'm not entirely sure. So if we put snow on top of them, it's difficult to get the details from these really far off trees. But I'm just gonna start to paint the far off background here and get the different so that we can actually create some proper depth. That was beautiful what you just showed. Thank you. We can go on and paint on that one if you want to, but we just stayed with this one for a little while. So let's see. So when it's this far away, they don't have to be too detailed. I can always go in and do that more afterwards. What I like to do though is to kind of start to get the depth really into place, and I like to do that with trees. And then to just put the different trees at the correct distance, and then things are going to start to kind of make more sense here. There, and then the trees a step further here are going to be bigger. You said you didn't go to art school. How did you learn to paint? On your own or with some help like videos? So, yeah, so with videos, so with a lot with YouTube, and mainly on my own. I just started to paint, and then I kept trying to get better and to improve upon what I did the last time. But I did watch a lot of videos and watched how other people painted, and that was a big help. So basically things like this. And then to just watch how they used the brushes, how they did different things. And yeah, just try to improve upon what I did the last time. So let's see, I'm just going to zoom in here, I think. My light is a bit annoying because it creates these lines, but I think it kind of has to be like that. And now I'm just going to ignore the rest of the painting, and we can kind of stay a little bit, stay here basically. And we can go back up again, and we can do that that Milky Way properly. Then we can get some lights into this, to the landscape and so on. So this Milky Way, obviously we just need a lot more stars. And quite a few of these stars aren't really finished either. So what I like to do is to have quite a few different stars so that you can get the depth in the sky too. I'm just going to plop down a bit of paint at some different places, and then we're going to paint that out so that it can become stars. There, and then we can have a big one over the Milky Way. I'm gonna have to go in later and do the same thing on the places that you can't see now, at the edges of the painting. And maybe I'll just put some trees in the way. But I think, especially when we do the stars now, I like to be more zoomed in, and it's gonna be easier for you to see. So yeah, as you can see, I do quite a lot of different stages when I paint stars. So I'm gonna go back over them again and again until they look the way I want them to. Is it just white for the stars, or do you mix it? So this is yellow. This is a very light yellow. And I'm going to do some with it which are going to be bluer. So a little bit of different colors. But now it's just a very light yellow. While I watch and listen to you here, I am creating some winter decorations. Oh, that's lovely. That's a nice image to have too. And then we can go in at the very end of the stars and create some kind of little lines. I know those lines have more to do with the fact that if you're using a camera lens and you're photographing them, but we're so used to stars kind of twinkling. And they do that a bit with our eyes too. So I like to put those in. And since it's from imagination, we're allowed to do things like that. But actually, often those lines of the stars, they actually come from the lens that is used. And when you see them with your naked eye, they usually just look round like this. I agree, Lynn. It's nice to do something creative while watching the stream. Oh, that's lovely. It's very cozy to do. Yeah, oh, that is wonderful. If I can kind of create the mood and the little world so that everyone can kind of be creative together here, that's lovely. Okay, this is going to be the shiniest of the stars. I can put the center in a few of the stars so you guys can see what I mean and how shiny they are going to be eventually. So most of them are probably going to stay like this, but we are going to have some that are going to be much more radiant. I need a different brush for that though. I just need to... Okay. And I always keep forgetting a few stars when I do it like this. I could do one star at a time and then finish it, but I mean, even I am not that patient. So let's see. Okay, I'm just going to get my liner and we'll do the starry points with that one. So that's something like this. Well, it's this. to clean it. And then we can get the really, really bright spot into some of the stars. For that, I do have to hold my breath though. Let's see. There we are. It's just a really, really tiny little point in the middle. And there, they're shining more already. I'm just going to keep going like this until we have 1,000 stars. And of course the Milky Way is going to benefit from having so many more stars. Just want this backdrop to be a little bit more even. And then we can go a little bit crazy and just start plopping down stars after star after star. Actually, the Milky Way often has a little bit of a color tinge, but I think we're going to leave it like this. So thank you, Cressy. Yeah, so it's getting there. It's one of the frustrating things sometimes with kind of starting off painting on a live stream, because often I start to paint a bit abstract and then it gets more into the way I want it. So my ego kind of takes over there. It's relaxing to watch, but also hard to leave this alert state while having the baby phone next to me. Yeah, I get that. What kind of brush do you use for these small stars? So for those very small stars, I use this. This is a liner. If you can see my hand, you can see the size of it. So often you'd think that you'd want a pointer for that, just a really, really tiny one like this. But I find that the liner actually gives you more control to get the really small point in. And then I use this one, this pointer for the shine, for the roundness. So I'm going to go back to using that now so that we can get more stars. So as you can see, I paint the shine of the star first, and then I go in with the liner to paint the point. It's really beautiful already, but I know you pour a lot of your talent in it. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Lynn. I'm happy to answer any questions. And of course, Krasi, I am very curious to see what you are going to paint. You and Lena live in a place, but it's also really remote. Do you ever have a feeling of loneliness, or have you a dark period that you often see by people who live in a room? I have had a dark period. Oh, absolutely. So this life is definitely not for everyone. And perhaps you need one of those dark periods to need this kind of a life and enjoy it. Because I know a lot of people who think they might enjoy this kind of a life probably would not. Yeah, I've definitely had a dark period. And this kind of a life has been just what has been needed. also we just, as creative people, we have a lot of things to do that really doesn't require anyone else to be around, and that kind of helps there as well. I am prepared, and me and my son are starting next week at some point. That's lovely, Krasi. So Krasi is doing our painting course. And the first few paintings that are going to come up in the gallery on our webpage are finished. And Lena is starting to prepare the gallery. So once we get 1 or 2 more paintings in, our gallery is going to come up and we can show off the paintings that people have finished in the course. And that's also a place where we have created a community, but obviously a smaller and a bit more exclusive than these live streams. But it's really lovely to create these kind of communities. And it's so wonderful to see what people do with these techniques and really make it their own, and so on. Okay, I have to go over these stars now. I painted lots and lots and lots of just dots, and I have to make them all around. Yes, I'm really, really, really happy about it's so much fun to see other people using the techniques that I've kind of developed over the years on my own, and then suddenly we actually have a community where people try them out and do their own things and so on. So it's been so much fun. The very first paintings I did as a child are actually very much at the same spirit as you paint, just nature. It was a mountain in the back and forest in the front. Everyone liked it a lot. Yeah, I think the way that I paint is very much the way that you start to paint. The very first paintings, I've just taken it a bit further. Since I had never went to an art school or something like that, I never learned the, quotes, proper way of painting. So I just kind of stuck with the kind of the child's way of doing a painting, and just kind of continued that and developed it. So I think it has a lot more in common, this way of painting, to what everyone did as a child, than the quite rigorous technical methods that you would use if you went to an art school. They would paint everything, for instance, with just one color first, and different way of thinking of perspective, and just lots of different ways of doing it. And here you're just basically intuitively going along. I'm really loving the star part. How wonderful. Yeah, stars are a lot of fun, especially once you really start to get a lot of them. And we're going to just plaster the Milky Way with stars. Stars also some of them. After branches, I think stars are the most meditative thing to paint. But yeah, if it looks, my way of painting looks a lot like the things you did as a child, at least the way of painting, there's a reason for that. And I'm actually really happy to have kind of kept that way of painting. I know a lot of hobby painters paint this way too, and then when you get more professional, people go in different directions and do it differently, which is perfectly legitimate. But I like just being able to develop this way of painting further. And I see no reason why it can't become something professional. Are you making more courses? Oh, definitely. So, of course, it depends a little bit on how this goes, but it seems to have gone well so far. Of course, there needs to be some demand for it. But the plan is to make a lot of courses that build upon this one. So the course that we made now is a basic introductory course. In the course that we have now, you become a part of the community, and you learn through through the different lessons, you learn all the basics of creating a painting from imagination. And the next courses, they're going to be cheaper, and they're going to build upon that course. So they're going to, for instance, going to be one course just about how to paint a snow painting. And we're going to do the Northern Lights. And then in spring, flower paintings and so on. And all of that is going to build on this basic course that we just put out. And the same community is going to be for all of those courses, and it's just going to build upon one another. So the plan is that this was just the first part in a series, and it's basically the bedrock. So if you have this course, you've learned the basic techniques, and they're not going to repeat myself in the other courses. They are going to build upon it and are going to be more specific. So that's the plan for the courses. And so we're really, really excited about the next courses too, because they're going to be much more specific, basically. And especially I think the next one, we haven't really decided yet, but it's probably going to be snow. So if we make it now, for instance, after New Year's at some point, then snow would be nice. I'm thankful for finding you on the internet, as you really inspired me to go into painting, just because I need to put my creativity into reality. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, exactly. I think all of us have so much creativity in us. And I have to say hi to Aurora, who I just saw join me. It's a very old friend of mine. I don't always like to call you guys out, but it's nice to see. I see a lot of people joining me here that I know well, but I'm not going to call everyone out, because you might want to remain private. If you start to chat here, then I'm gonna put my attention to, and I can call on you. But it's really lovely to see so many people that I know here. So I think everyone has a lot of creativity within them. And often it's just kind of, it doesn't get anywhere. And it's so nice to be able to help with that. Let's see, so we wanted just an enormous amount here. Will there be another launch this year? So we will have a New Year's launch? We just had a launch. Do you mean I think you mean the shop. If you do, we just added, I think I added about 13 glasses and 3 cups. So they were kind of the rest of the things that I had to paint. So we just added some items to the shop, and there will be another restock, basically. So just going to be cups and candle glasses, but in new motifs for New Year. So there will be a New Year's launch. It's going to be a bit smaller, and then afterwards it's going to be a bigger one. What do you think about the process of finding your own style of painting? Was it difficult, or something that come naturally? So that came quite naturally, just because of the way I did it. So since I didn't go to any school or anything like that, I kind of had to develop my own way. And it basically, as I said, it's kind of just an extension of how everyone starts. But instead of then going the professional route, I just kind of continued with the hobby way of painting, I suppose, and then created something I hope is a bit more professional. So I kind of just continued in that vein. And then I spent a year trying to learn Chinese, and I used a lot of time with the Chinese brushes. And then I also went quite deep into the Chinese way of painting. They painted landscape paintings long before the people did in the Western tradition, and valued it much more. And that way of painting has kind of come into, so it's kind of a mixture between different styles. So I think that comes through too, and that is kind of mixed in with this way of painting. So there are lots of different influences. And you'll see sometimes I use Chinese brushes, and if I hold it like this, for instance, that's from the Chinese way of holding it. And just a way to make the landscape and some of the abstractions and so on. And painting things in one line. There are lots of different things that come from the Chinese tradition. and a lot of inspiration come from the old 18th century Romanticist painters. And then it's just the kind of finding your own techniques. So I think that's the kind of the different things that have kind of led me to finding my particular way of painting. And then it's the fact that I don't look at anything. And that's probably one of the things that sets it apart the most, is the decision I made really early on that I didn't want to look at any photo or something like that. Okay, we have quite a few more stars. I'm going to go in with a liner again. I've seen some people using makeup brushes. Have you tried one of those? Yes, I have used some of those. Some of the makeup brushes really are the most detailed oriented brushes that you can, especially the nail painting ones. So I have used some of them, but often they're not entirely made for oil painting, but they can be really good. So yeah, nothing against using makeup brushes for painting, especially the nail painting ones. I'm actually going to buy more of those. Oh, it doesn't want to stick. Okay, I need some more paint on that. Do you already have any plans for your little Harry Potter store? You said in Elena's stream, looking so forward to that. Yes, so well, now we are in the correct area again. We went off a little bit in the wrong area, and now we're back again, and there's just this lovely town of Röros in this area, and we've seen already seen stores that look very much right. One friend used an old blush for makeup, but that's a different way of doing it. A used one can't be good for skin. No, I don't think it is. No, I think makeup for oil is fine. I don't think oil for makeup is good. So I have lots more planned for my Harry Potter store. I actually found a new way of doing candle glasses too. I am going to get an engraving set in the mail probably on Monday, and I'm going to start using it in a few days after that, which means that I can paint stars and the northern lights and so on much, much better into my candle glasses. And that's going to show, I think, in the New Year's launch. Hopefully I'm not making promises I can't keep here. But starting to engrave as well as paint. So I have lots of different things that I would like to do in the store. And all of this is just kind of preparation for having enough items to actually fill a store. Right now, things kind of sell out really quickly. There's really no need for a store. So I'm going to have to figure out how to actually fill a store, maybe to work with other people, have kind of places in the store where other artists can sell their things. So I think one of the main problems now, obviously finding a store and finding the time and so on, but is that, well, as we sell online, there's no need at the moment for a store, and I'm not quick enough to actually fill it. Hopefully I will be, and we shall see how it's going to be possible. But I definitely still want a store. Amazing how the final highlight and shadow really bring a painting to life. Absolutely. It's it's often really the very, very end things that really make it. Love a night sky. I really love the night sky. Yeah, it can just be a really tiny line on top of a mountain or something. It can really make a difference. Okay, let's get the process started with painting an enormous amount of tiny, tiny, tiny little dots here. I mean, it's the Milky Way. And there's no end to how many stars there are. And we can get some of the dots into the radiant shine of the stars. And some dots we don't need a shine. Yes, it can be rough to fill up a store if you create everything by hand. It's different if someone sells prints or copies. Yeah, that's correct. And since we kind of insisted upon creating everything by hand, it's probably going to take a little while. But I am getting more efficient, and there are different ways of doing it that can speed up the process. And the more I'm learning, the quicker I get. Sometimes the more I'm learning, I want to spend more time with things as well, so it can go in both directions. But generally, I tend towards being able to do the same thing faster. And then, of course, if you learn something new, then it gets slower again. But it's tended that way for a long time now. My first paintings that I finished, I spent, I think, like 100, 200 hours finishing. And I mean, I could never have lived off of that. And now I create something I would say is the same quality or better in a tenth of that time. So hopefully I will be able to fill a store. And maybe it's just open for particular times a year or something like that. Okay, we can create some really tiny stars at different places too. They shouldn't be too radiant, because I just want little spots to create kind of depth. And I keep having to remember, this is not snow, and so stars are not spaced evenly in the sky. That's very important, and that's really what sets it apart. And of course the glow and the color and so on. But one way to get stars really, really wrong is to paint them completely evenly over the sky, and then it just looks like snow that stops on the horizon. So resist the urge to space them evenly and rather group them. That looks incredible. Love it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's starting to, we're starting to have a proper Milky Way here. To see where the painting is bigger than my screen here. It looks really weird from this vantage point. I'm only painting where you can actually see, so there are no stars at the edges. I'm gonna have to paint that in later. That's a good thing about the stars and snow. Oh well, I'm glad I can help. I've done a few paintings like that where it just looked like snow basically. And that's not what you want. Okay, I want so many stars that you can't really make them out individually here in the Milky Way. I think for those of you who live in the city, you probably never see the Milky Way like this. But trust me, it really is this bright, even with the naked eye. Especially if it's really, really cold and there's no light to obstruct your view, the Milky Way just gets incredibly clear. And there's no moon, and so on. Of course, most places in the world now have so much light pollution that it's really difficult to make it out. But then if you really get far, far away from a city, and even in just a small town, and you see it, it's just an incredible sight. I grew up in a small town. I was so surprised how few stars you see in the city. Yeah, there really are very, very few. And I mean, there are some cities where you don't see any stars, basically. That's true. I miss the stars every night. Ah, yeah. It's, well, it's the price you pay for a lot of company, I suppose. Oh, I forgot that we can see all the way over here. Let's get some stars down here too. And go back to the Milky Way and continue. How did you do the background? So you mean just the colors? You're gonna have to specify that, I think. So for this stream, I had already painted the background, the blue one. And that's just different colors of blue painted together. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. And let's paint some little bit of a radiance. As I said, this is usually just something that comes out because of a photo lens. But I like the effect, so I painted in on some of the stars. Oh, I do need a different color on that. Actually, you can see it with the new telescopes. They sometimes have 6 beams, and that's because of the... That's also because I'm not of the lens, but I think that's how the setup works. But we're so used to having those little lines that they just really look very pleasing when you do them. So I'm going to see if I can do it. It's some of the tiniest work that you can do when you paint stars. And I have to hold my breath again. There we are. A few things like that on some of the stars. I find it always gives it a bit extra life. But as I said, it's not entirely realistic. But I guess if you squint, you get a little bit of that effect. Might be just because we look at so many movies and photos that we're used to having that effect on stars. But as I said, if you do squint, you get a little bit of it. That was way too much. Okay, I think we can leave it like that for now, and then we'll go into the landscape. And in fact, we've always painted for 2 hours now, and I think it's almost time for this live stream. What more to do at the moment? So we can get in a little bit. I think we can do some snow on the trees, and we can get some of the light from the stars into the landscape. Just to have it a little bit more closer to how it's going to look. I can use a different brush for that. So the question is how much snow there is here in this this landscape. But I think maybe there's quite a lot of snow, and we can kind of make it a bit heavy. Right when I started doing that, I'm a bit skeptical if that's the correct thing to do here. But we can paint the snow on first, and then afterwards the needles and so on can go in underneath. Good night, good animal stones. I should, Michael, I should probably go to bed soon too. We've done most of the Milky Way here, and I think with a little bit of snow, we can probably soon say goodnight. But I'm going to continue a little bit. Sorry about that. Let's see. So we have some snow. And there's going to be snow on these trees too. Can do a little bit already, just so it's going to be clear how they're going to look. So something like that. Something like that. I'm going to have to do that quite detailed so it's possible to still see the tree, that they don't disappear. Those in the background are going to be even a bit more difficult. Okay, tomorrow I really need to paint too. This is inspiring. Wonderful. Well, I'm really glad that I can inspire. So if I can inspire you to start painting, or paint more, maybe you paint a lot already, then I have done my mission. Oh yeah, here we have some of the light in. Actually, that's more pleasing than I thought it would be. And this is where that starts. It's really difficult to stop once you really get going. And this is the point when it starts to get fun. I mean, in the beginning, that is a lot of fun too, and you can kind of put everything down. But now that I start to know where things are supposed to go, I really like that part of the process. I don't have to think as hard anymore, and the landscape is starting to take shape. Very good. Yes, I really love this part of painting. And let's get more of this this highlights into the snow here. We can put some more trees in afterwards. And maybe some trees even closer. But I'm not entirely certain about that yet. I should probably have a live stream at some point where other people can join too and paint at the same time. Yes, some more trees, I think, too. Very good. I actually think in the course that we are doing, I am going to try to do something. We have to have more people in there first, and people have to get further along, but it would be nice to have a live stream with more people painting, and just painting together so that I can see the things that you guys are doing as well. That's definitely something I have on the agenda, if that's possible to set up. And then just have an evening painting together would be lovely. And more snow, maybe. Oh, definitely, we can do that. Wish we could all meet physically in one place and get some art lessons. Oh, we will be doing that at some point. Once we get a farm and we have our place, I'm sure we will be doing things like that in the summertime. Do you paint on paper canvas? Yes, that is exactly what I'm doing. So my really large painting I've done on canvas, but this and most of my paintings are on paper canvas. But yeah, we will definitely have some painting workshops and so on that people can come and we can actually meet up in person. It's probably quite a few years off in the future, but it will happen. Let's have a little bit more. I can put some highlights on the snow. I think that might turn out nice. So I think the online course that we have now it's basically the start of all of that. That's where I learn how to teach. It's how I learn what people want to know. It's how we can build a community. And then with time, that hopefully is just going to expand and turn into more than it started with, basically. And hopefully it can turn into actual workshops and actual meetups in the real world. That is definitely a goal. So the way we like to do things now is we're working slowly but surely to our goals. We have very clear goals, Lena and I, and we're just slowly but surely making our way there. Trying not to rush it, but always keeping that goal in mind. It's a bit too strong. I'm gonna have to moderate that, but I'm just gonna have it really strong first and then we can moderate it a bit afterwards. Oops. Yeah, we have so many plans and ideas, but one tiny little step at a time. Online course now, a few different new things, and of course all of the things that I'm learning now, once I get better at it, I can start to kind of pass it on eventually. Especially the engraving on glass, I'm really excited about, but that's going to take ages just for me to learn. So right now I'm just putting down where the color is going to be, and then we're going to go over it again and smear it out and make it look more proper. You don't have to rush. We will wait. Very good. As long as you guys don't go anywhere and you stick with us, you can be part of this journey as well. So much has happened already. I mean, as I said, I think this shop is only 2 years old. It seems much older already. It seems like it's been there forever. The course is now, I think, a month old. Not much more than that. Or even less. So yeah, we have time. And things are already moving pretty fast, actually. Welcome to the stream, Bassam. It's so nice to have people from different times of my life here in the stream. Really surprised at how many different people from time to time join me here. I think that's one of the joys of doing it on Instagram, where it's easy to join and just pop in. I do apologize to those of you who just call out and maybe you just wanted to kind of check in private and not have me call your names out. I try not to do it too much. So let's get these lines a bit mushed out here. But some of you I'm just a bit too excited to see in the stream, and I'm going to call you out. Wow, starting to look amazing as you're adding the outline. Oh, thank you. And I'm going to obscure the outline again, but we're going to add it in again more and so on. I like to do all of these things in small little stages. As I said, I'm painting from imagination here, and there's no master plan behind it. And so every stage decides what I do next. So often, even if I completely obscure some things, they're going to help me to continue. That's one of the ways to really paint from imagination is, and if you just want to start a painting and you have no idea, just put something down. It doesn't have to look like anything at all. Anything you put down might give you associations, and you can go off of that. Just adding some shadows, suddenly you see a tree, and then you paint that tree, and then you can see, oh, it might be something else was going to be next to it, and you splash some color down, and it's wonderful, the associations our mind can make, but it needs something to go off of. So just staring at a blank canvas is one of the worst things. Just put anything down and you can start. And then I think we talked about more trees. Well, that's a question, if we actually want a big tree. Oh, there my live stream is going off again. But I mean, this is nice, and lots of people are still here. So I have 1 minute and 40 seconds left here. But I'm going to end this live stream, and then I'm going to see you back on the other side. So I'm going to start off a new live stream right away. And I hope as many of you as possible join me in the next one. Blank canvas is my big fear too. Yeah, that can be quite scary. So yeah, I'm going to end this live stream here, and then I'm just going to start a new one right away, and hopefully as many of you as possible can join me in the next one. See you there. And there we are again. And I'm going to have to... So I am glad that a lot of you are joining me again. Yeah, for some reason I can only do an hour at a time, and we already been painting for 2 hours here. But yeah, so I'm really glad to have you guys back. And then of course the question is, how are we going to continue? We could do a really big tree. So what we might want to do, I can zoom out here, and as you can see, I haven't really done the edges. And that might work to our benefit now. So what we could do is we could frame it. Could paint big trees here and here. Then that way I don't actually need to have the stars there. And they could then be filled with snow. Just do something different. I've made so many of these paintings where you have the entire sky open. Back again to my polar bear is not finished yet, so I'm happy to proceed. Very good, happy you proceed. Very good. So I'm just going to do something that might look awful in the beginning. But I'm pretty sure it's going to turn out nice in the end. Maybe we won't get to the point where it's going to start to look nice this evening. But I'm just going to splash in a lot of black, and hopefully it's going to look all right. And it's not going to be this black eventually. So we're going to go in afterwards with other colors and so on, and it's not going to look as bad. But yeah, let's just do it. here it's going to be really, really shiny, which is going to be really annoying. But since I've decided to show you all the entire thing, okay, let's just go in and there. Hello, welcome to the stream. So we're doing something a bit risky here. I'm basically just completely obscuring parts of the painting. A lot of this is gonna be snow. But I'm just gonna do this really, really heavily at first here, just to get the color down, and then we can go in and do the details afterwards. This is what I mean. Sometimes you just start, obviously this isn't abstract, but it's not detailed in any way. And I'm just going to mimic the way the snow is going to lay on it eventually. And I'm really, really scared of just completely destroying the painting, but I don't think so. Usually there are ways that it can turn out well. So I am glad to see you guys joining me again. And don't get too much of a shock. You can do it. Thank you. I am sure it's going to turn out good well eventually. What I really want here is just to get the kind of the rough outline of the trees and so on that I want here. Basically, I want to obscure both sides of the painting. I shouldn't do completely black, but we'll do black, and that'll be the backdrop of the trees. Then we'll do snow on top of it, and that's gonna be a nice backdrop to some light snow. There's no reason to do these detailed if some things are going to come on top of them afterwards anyway. So for instance, here we might want to have a tree where we can make it a bit more detailed afterwards. And here it's just going to be black for now. And on this side, we're not going to do too much attention anyway because of this shine that I can't really do anything about at the moment here. So once this dries, we could, it should be possible for you guys to see it, but now it's not, so I'm just gonna do this real quick. So we kind of know how it's going to be. I'm gonna obscure it completely. We're not gonna see anything behind it. I'm gonna do that here too. I think, yeah, let's just do that. It will turn out well, I am sure. Looks a bit scary now. But it will turn out nicely, I think. And then once we paint snow on top of it, it's going to look much more harmonious with the rest of the painting. There, is it possible to get that shine away? Well, that's better. A bit. Maybe if we do it a bit darker, there we are. Okay, and let's get the snow color darker too. Wow, love it. It's getting more depth. Very good. Then it wasn't such a big mistake. Let's see here. Okay, and we can get that really dark snow color in, and everything else can get highlights afterwards. So that this is at a very different level than the rest of it. And so we want a different color for the snow. And really, really dark snow is not white, it is bluish purple. There. Yeah, it is getting more depth, isn't it? And we should probably have some of these trees over there too. But that's something for later, I think. I can zoom in a bit now. And we can kind of concentrate upon this area. So the question is if there should be anything kind of here. Maybe there should be a river or something. So this again is actually one of the more difficult stages. Things are kind of where they should be, but it's not entirely decided yet. Actually, I think quite a lot of these trees, I'm not entirely sure if we are going to have really... The snow might actually be really dark. Let's do some details. We see really, really fine details in the foreground. Now that the things are where they ought to be. I'm missing some of the comments you read, and I feel you don't see all my comments, which is strange. That is strange. I do read every comment. So if you have commented and I didn't read it or answered it, then it's because I haven't seen it. I haven't turned on anything that should censor any comments or something like that. If I haven't commented, I read absolutely every comment I see here. So that is a mistake on Instagram's part, I think. Do feel free to repeat anything that I haven't answered. It's not because I didn't want to, it's then because I didn't see it. I always find that adding more details to things then really gives it that extra bit of life. And detail is very much something different than realistic. Often things can look much more realistic without a lot of details. Details is something else. I probably have like 10 more minutes or a bit more than that. I texted that what you did really changed the place we are in your world. So it's amazing. Just shifted from me from one spot to another in this world painting. Oh, that's lovely. I can see all your comments, I guess. That is lovely. Yeah, I didn't see that. I really like that with landscape painting, is that you can do some small, quite a big change, of course, here. And the entire perspective changes completely. I always loved that. As I said, I started with kind of making little clay sculptures and miniature worlds. And that is very restricted. I had to build everything. And in a painting, you can just make huge worlds. Well, easily might be the wrong word, but you just have an infinite amount of opportunity to create huge, huge, huge worlds. And I really, really love that. Emma, welcome to the stream. This is the problem when you guys join a bit later. I then don't want to stop, even if I have to stop soon. My battery on this phone is not particularly good, and I can't actually connect it while it's there because it's a bit broken. So that kind of puts a limit on how long I can do these streams. But I mean, we have painted for over 2 hours now. And I'm going to keep going until it has about 10%. Last stream, it just cut me off right before I kind of got to say goodbye. I don't want that to happen this time. But we have actually come very far on this painting. I mean, it started off just a blue piece of canvas. So I've gotten a lot further, even keeping in mind that we didn't start with this painting. We have painted some Northern Lights too during this session. So I've actually gotten really, really far. Do you already see the Northern Lights in your place? Yes, we have seen the Northern Lights actually since we moved in. So they start in the beginning of kind of ends of September. You start to see them here. And we've already had some really, really strong Northern Lights. So in Lena's videos, the Northern Lights that you see are from here and are from this autumn. So the Northern Lights have already started. I mean, the Northern Lights are, of course, always there. It's just that you can't see them in the summertime when it's really, really light. But around, I think around kind of end of September, you start to see them again. It's dark enough that you can see them if it's really strong. Glad caught the end of the stream. Was on the road till now, I see. Well, I am going to try to keep this up with. I didn't do it the last weekend because we had our Christmas launch. But really, my goal is to have a live stream every weekend. Might not be every Sunday. It might then be Saturday. It might be at different times. But that is my goal. I would really like to have this a regular thing. And Lena wanted me to say hi from her. So hi from Lena to everyone. She is already working on ideas for next videos. And I'm not going to give anything away, but there are things coming. Greetings back. Very good. I will give her your greetings. She has so much work to do as well with this. When we have a launch like the Christmas launch, she has, hundreds of pictures to do and upload into the store. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. And then the question is, what kind of color the snow should have. I probably shouldn't do too many details here until we get some of the snow in, because I'm just going to paint over those anyway. So I think we're just going to start with the color of the snow on the ground, a little bit lighter. I'm going to put that on top of the trees. Sometimes I do that. I paint 1,000 different details into my painting, and then I add a layer of snow or something like that, and I lose a few hours of work. Let's not do that this time. I'm going to try to mix a proper color here, and then we can start to get some color onto this, onto the trees right away. Let's see. I'm not entirely sure what the right color is going to be. This is a lot lighter. It could be quite a bit lighter. I'm going to want to have highlights on the ground too. That's probably good. And then we can start to, of course, everything is wet now, so ideally I would wait a little bit longer. But I want to have a little bit more of, I want to show you a bit how it's going to turn out. And the snow is going to be a good one. Oh, I just got a new order here. I keep seeing the orders in our shop. And I'm not sure if that's one of you either. Let me know if it is. That might be difficult, of course, to buy something while you're in the stream here. Let's see, so this, I think, is the color that the snow is going to have. And then we can do some highlights, because now it almost has the same color that the sky has, and it does look a little bit confusing. So something like that on top of the branches here. Yeah, I can see already I would probably have to wait a little bit. But since I have to go soon, we're just going to put down a little bit of snow so that we can get I can leave you with an idea of how the painting is going to be in the end. It's great. I can really imagine how it will come out. Thank you. It will be great. Thank you, Cressy. Yeah, I really wanted to have, I mean, we've spent quite a lot of time on this together. And it would be nice to leave you with an idea. And then eventually, of course, you will see how it turns out. Maybe we'll finish it in the next live stream. I can keep this. If I can. Sometimes I just get this urge and I kind of have to continue it. But I'm gonna see. I'm not making any promises, and maybe we'll do candles or something like that when I have my engraving tool. I really want to show you guys that, but I have to practice a bit with my own first. But maybe we can finish this together next time. I did get a lot further than I thought. Especially given that I had no idea where this was going to go when we started. And something that often happens with these live streams, since I am a bit nervous and I'm trying out a few different things and so on, but I do keep going because I have to keep painting the entire time. Often the paintings that I paint in the live streams are a bit different and a bit new compared to what I usually do. So it's actually a really good creative tool for me. It's a different challenge to do it in this way. And I want to keep it somewhat entertaining as much as I can with detailed oil painting. I mean, I'm amazed that so many of you keep coming back. But there are definitely things that can be a lot more boring than what we've done now. But that always keeps it a bit of a challenge. and creates kind of interesting results. It has just started snowing where I live. First snow just now. Oh, that's so nice. Well, then this fits really, really well with the mood that you are going to have. Heavy, beautiful snow. I just love snow. There's supposed to be quite proper snowfall tomorrow, and I really hope we can start to go on skiing here soon. Maybe, well, probably not already tomorrow. We need quite a bit of snow for that, but it would be nice. And eventually the entire lake here that you've seen in photos is going to freeze over and we can walk across that too. As I said before, this is one of the absolutely coldest areas in all of Norway. And so even this enormous lake freezes over completely, and they actually track over with snow scooters and make it possible to even with heavy machines to ski over it. The thing with Sunday evening is that all of you guys is, of course, I mean, in America, it's just starting to get a proper time. Early evening is that I could probably just go on the entire night and there would still be people joining. But my battery is about to die, and we've probably gotten as far on this painting as we can until it does have to dry a little bit before I can really properly continue it. So I think with that, I am going to say goodnight. I'll zoom out and I'm going to clean my brushes, and I'm going to give everyone a little chance to say goodbye. And good night. It's been so nice to have you guys here. I've been painting for 2.5 hours now. And I'm just so grateful that so many of you keep joining me. And especially to you, Krasi, you're so often here and so active. That's really nice. Good night, Lynn. Thank you for joining. You're very active here too, and Fräulein Grün. Thank you for joining me in this live stream. And yeah, as I said, I hope to be able to make this a weekly occurrence. We might have some other plans for next weekend, who knows, but I'm going to try to have a stream then as well. And I'm glad that you caught at least the end, Emma, and maybe a bit more next time. Hoffentlich bald wieder, absolut. And then we'll have the Northern Lights painting, we'll have this painting to continue. And I'm always amazed of how much I actually get done during these live streams. They're probably the most productive part of my days when I have them. Thanks for Mike. Thank you for joining. And with that, I'm going to say good night and thank you. Till next time.